You know about the drugs, time spent in prison, allegations against law enforcement, and iconic political figures here in the city of Detroit, along with attempts on his life. Rick Wershie Jr., yes, known as White Boy Rick, is also sharing his candor on prison reform and rebuilding the city of Detroit by doing so at a place where it all started. We have seen the incredible and captivating story in the media, bone-chilling documentaries, and even on the Hollywood big screen. The drugs, the murders, police corruption, political scandals, and even the affairs. Rick Wershie Jr., White Boy Rick, made history, recruited by law enforcement to be an informant at the age of 14, and later to become the youngest nonviolent offender to serve more than 30 years behind bars. A $100 million lawsuit has been filed on allegations of child abuse. But let's be clear, this is a different conversation, and we chose the intersection of Mogul and Hayes. We are at the corner of Mogul and Hayes on Detroit's east side. Describe what this neighborhood is to you.
This is where I grew up. This was my hood. So, east side of Detroit, where I grew up. My son grew up a half a mile from here. I was fortunate that while I was in prison, that his mom made sure that he went to college. So, he's doing very well in life.
Rick Wershie and I met at this location the morning before he announced the $100 million lawsuit against law enforcement officials, marking the anniversary of his prison release 2 days after he turned 52 years old.
It's emotional standing here. You know, it's been 34 years since I had a birthday free. So to stand here in front of my store, this, you know, it's tough. A lot goes through my mind, Josh. You know, the last time I was at this building, my father was still here. He was still alive. My dad's no longer with me. So, you know, that's an emotional thing.
Mac's Barbershop used to be Rick's Video Palace, where Wershie also celebrated his last birthday before going to prison. Everybody knows about the video store, huh?
Bro, this was famous, bro. Listen, I opened it up as like a front or whatever you want to call it.
Right.
But we were so popular that it became a money-making business.
Rick Wershie shared stories of how he and his friends would hang out at the corner of Mogul and Hayes and partied late into the night.
I used to park right here. I'll never forget. I parked my car right here. And
right here?
Right here. I would park it right here, and this officer came and said, "You're blocking the sidewalk." And I was a kid, so I was argumentative. I said, "The sidewalk is here." and he said, "You're blocking the sidewalk." I said, "The sidewalk is here." He said, "Never mind, young man." And he wrote a ticket and put it on my car. He said, "You're blocking the sidewalk." He was nice, but I was argumentative. I didn't think that I was harming anybody, but I wanted everybody to see my car.
What kind of car was it?
A Mercedes-Benz.
At 14, 15 years old.
I was 17.
17, okay.
I did a lot of good things as a child, but I did a lot of bad things. And when you're a kid, I guess I was taking the bad things to do some of the good things that I was doing. You know, I run into people all the time that say, "Oh, I remember you used to buy stuff for the neighborhood or stop the ice cream truck and pay." But I was doing bad things to be able to do those good things. But being a child, you really don't look at it like that. Not only did I do it as a child, I was pushed into it by law enforcement. Let's not forget that. So the things that I went through and I did, a lot of those things I was taught to do. And
By those who took an oath to serve and protect.
by those who took the oath to serve and protect.
From a polarizing lifestyle decades ago to the present, not desperate for cash, but still enjoying the moment of picking up a penny off the ground.
I did 33 years in a prison, in a cage. So to stand here, like a lot of the things that people take for granted, I don't. So this, you know, I'll take this home and show it to Michelle.
Your girlfriend?
Yeah, and be like, "Hey, I picked this up right where I used to park my car, you know?
Rick Wershe's candor on prison reform.
I think that we have a lot of people in prison that don't belong in prison. It's my belief that we could release half of the prison population and society would be just as safe as it is today. Prisons were built for violent offenders, for sex offenders. You have tons of people in prison, Josh, that don't fit that criteria. They're not in that category, but we over-sentence them.
He's been a free man for 1 year, and Wershe tells me he continues to ask the questions many of us wonder every day.
And I ask judges and lawyers and educated people, explain this to me. And time again, I get the same answer. I can't. There's no explanation for why a drug offender will do 15 to 30 years in prison, but a sex offender will serve 5 to 7 years. That's sad. Bro, I wish you could
While
see
conversing with each other, the two of us learned that we share a common bond.
So this is where Josh Landing grew up.
11010 Mobiles.
We're gonna check it out right now.
Let's check it out. Turns out, a piece of his old life and the home where my mother raised me are literally from one end of the corner to the other. Living room, right there.
Dining room, kitchen right behind it.
Yep.
This house is this is like a small room upstairs.
Upstairs bedroom. With an attic.
Exactly like my grandmother's. Exact home that I grew up in at my grandmother's house.
Same structure, huh?
Same structure, same everything.
We wanted to point out this connection to help get rid of a stigma.
Just because you're born on Hayes and Mogul, it doesn't mean that you should have the disadvantage that you might end up in prison 50% more or 100 times more than another person. Just because, 10 miles away is Grosse Pointe. Those kids have a huge advantage over the youth of where we're standing right now. So you can do it from here. You just need that push. You grew up down the street from here. You're a successful Fox News anchor. So it can be done. You just need that push. You need that opportunity.
We focused the conversation on how this community and many others like it continue to be put on the back burner while downtown and suburban areas continue to blossom. 2 blocks right here. On one end, you have people who are still fighting to keep their neighborhood as strong as possible.
And as safe as possible.
And on the other end,
it looks like we're up north. It changes, you cross a street and you look at this and you look at this, and that's what makes me sad. This whole area was one of the nicer areas on the east side of Detroit. And when I came home and rolled through here, I was like, wow, what happened?
Blight, crime, poverty, all a sad reminder of the everyday reality.
I love Detroit. I love what they're doing with downtown. I just wanted to come into the neighborhoods. Listen, the people that are in charge now, what they're doing, I take my hat off to them. They're trying to make it a better city. They're trying to make it a more beautiful city. We just need to bring that into the neighborhoods a little bit more.
A little bit faster, too.
A little bit faster, a little bit more. Like the properties, these abandoned buildings, we need to get rid of them. Let's tear them down, let's start over. But Rome wasn't built in a day, and I don't think Detroit will be rebuilt in a day. But I like what I see.
Wershe is also walking the walk. He works with Team Wellness with a goal to help the youth who are in the foster care system.
A lot of the kids, Josh, that you meet in prison, I'm gonna say 50 to 60% of them, when you ask them, they'll say, oh, I was in foster care. I was in foster care. So what happens is they age out of foster care. When you're 18, the foster care opens the door and says, see you gotta go. Those kids have nowhere to go. So they end up in a prison system.
A system that Wershe says only cares about making money.
It's become more of an industry and less about rehabilitation. And once you do something for profit, the rehabilitation is gone out of it. The guards don't care. They think everybody's going to come back. That's their job security. When you leave, they say, we'll see you soon. And guess what? A lot of them you see sooner than later.
An interesting and deep conversation with Rick Wershey in the community where it all started.
I love these people, bro. This is my neighborhood. I mean, it's still, people say, oh, you're crazy going down there. That's where I'm from. People told me this morning, you taking security with you and Josh? I said, man, we don't need no security.
I think we'll be okay.
Yeah, this is where I'm from. It's nothing but love, bro.
At this time, the Detroit Police Department and FBI will not comment on the $100 million lawsuit, with it being pending litigation. But during our time on Mogul Street, Rick Wershey started pointing at different homes he would like to potentially buy down the line. Again, he says part of his focus is giving back to the community. We'll see what is next for Rick Wershey as a free man. Josh Landon, Fox 2 News.